Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ice cream is bad. Howdy and aloha, everybody. James Montauk. I'm gonna put up the link for people to come in, like right now. Thank you all for coming on. That was a good interview. It's work in progress. I'm getting better at all this. You know, I don't know if I'm doing very well at it, but this stuff needs to be known and it needs to be heard and it needs to be out there and the seeds need to be planted. Get your mind out of the gutter. Oh, God. Evil. Evil. Like Chris said last night, the other night, it's evil stuff, man. All right. Let me get to that. What the hell is it? I heard it. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. In here. Put it here. All right. There it is. We're ready to go. I think I started another show. I hope so. God, I'm so bad. But I lifted today. Right, 25-pound dumbbells and 20-pound dumbbells. Did like 70 reps. Walked the whole 9 yards. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Oh, more people. Yay. Eben, what's up? How are you in your wonderful backdrop there? That's really nice. What's going on, man? Hey, your hair is kind of ahu. Let me tell you what that means. In
You're
Hawaii,
an Ahu too, you know that.
I know that's the first thing you get from something like that. Ahu means red in Hawaii. It's people that when I'm surfing in Hawaii, my hair gets almost blonde. It because of the salt water, it bleaches the hair with the
Yeah.
sun and all that. So you got kind of a light tone there.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
Yeah,
I've got some probably like gray hairs and
yeah, yeah. I
reddish.
definitely got that, bro. I got that
Huh.
covered. Did you watch some of that? What do you think? Did you see some of that guy?
Yeah, watched it all.
Oh,
Hmm.
nice. Yeah.
He's good. He has a really really fast teleprompter.
He does, right? Yeah,
I,
I this he's a wizard, man. I didn't know he was a mayor of a pretty Santa Monica is not a small city. It's like all of West Virginia. You know, it's a big fuck, and he was
yeah.
the mayor, so that's something to be said. And a city council member, I had no idea. He's bigger than I thought he was. Actually, he's not really tall, but he's a big guy. Big in stature, not in physical proportion. But yeah, that was good. I just like I told him, it's selling what they bring, and it's for some it's confusing because not everybody's used to the norm. So when he gets into that, he really has to break it down in like super layman's terms. And I mean, my little diagram. Do you see my little dorky diagram?
Hmm.
That little diagram is probably going to make a lot of sense, and if to a lot of people, because you have to simplify things, especially when you want to change something so dramatically.
Well,
Because
either
people get
that or
intimidated.
get.
You
Well,
know,
true.
yeah,
And my take is we gotta educate people.
yeah.
Instead of dumbing things down, we gotta get them up to speed.
Well, for them to understand it, I'm saying there's a lot of people that don't understand a lot of things that are happening. But then once they get up
Yeah.
to speed, once they understand the significance of it, then they'll start to say. Then the little light goes off in their head and goes, "Holy shit! We should have been doing this since 1874 or whatever time he said, or something to that effect." So how is your moving going? Where are you at? That's not your house, right? Whose house?
No, my wife's parents' house. We're in Omaha right now.
Wow, it
Uh,
looks really
yeah.
Renaissance-ish, like um, not Renaissance. It's like it's like a backdrop of like, did are there ghosts in that house?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm a
think
ghost.
it seems like a house that would have ghosts. I
By the
shouldn't say that,
way,
right? Oh shit! What's that behind you? Oh fuck! No, no. Doot
stop
doot
trying to
doot doot. Huh?
stop trying to scare me, tequila.
I know. Oh shit! Was that my name the whole time? Oh, I gotta fix it. Okay, good. I wonder if that. No, that wasn't my name the whole time, was it? I don't even know.
Uh, you were a snicker penis that whole
I
time.
think I was.
Yeah, you were.
By the way, that term can be considered a little racial, right? I mean, do you want to be, Dove Bar penis or
What would be or candy corn penis?
candy corn penis? Yeah, you don't want to be flashing that kind of crap.
Cover your ears, little one.
I know. Yeah, yeah, that was good
So I
stuff.
had a really horrible headache yesterday, migraine, carried
Oh,
over to today. I was wondering what was going on. I was thinking I might have had like food poisoning and got dehydrated because I was drinking coffee and I was like, well, it's not like coffee withdrawal,
right.
but it was coffee withdrawal because my one of my wife's parents drink decaf. And then when I was drinking coffee, I was like, all right, coffee. I got my like 2, 3 cups of coffee. And I was like, there's no way it would be coffee withdrawal. And then I figured it out. So now I'm actually drinking non-decaf coffee. And
Yeah, that can. It's like you're coming down, like you're
yeah,
coming down off your caffeine highs. I don't
I've
drink
had,
coffee. You ever
yeah.
seen the movie or that CGI movie Over the Hedge? You got kids, right? You ever seen that?
Mm-mm,
The movie Over the Hedge. Bruce Willis was in it.
mm-mm.
He was the voice of the raccoon.
I never seen it.
I think I brought this up before at some point. But when I drink coffee, I can actually feel anything. When I put something like a foreign substance in my body, I'm so in tune with my body that I can actually feel it going through my veins. It's just weird. So caffeine, I just get super. I don't drink coffee. I try to stay away from caffeine. I'm not Mormon, but the thing is it just. Oh, look at the cute baby. There, you can see the cute baby. Oh my gosh, your baby looks like like a like a like a not real. It's so perfect. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's like, oh, it's moving. Oh, I thought it was just a prop. Okay, okay, good
That's
looking
how I
kid.
get the views.
You got a
The
good looking
animals
kid
that
there,
they
buddy. Is that a boy or girl?
boy,
Boy. What's your son's name?
Roland.
Nice, Roland. I knew a guy in high school. His name was Roland. He was a great offensive lineman, and he was Japanese. And he was
Mhm.
about 5'5", but he could bench like 290. He was just super strong, over 300. I
Mhm.
think he bench over 300. But he used to get everybody as a guard, like a bowling ball's coming after you. And one time, since I was just learning how to play football, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And I came around to tackle the guy, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Roland hit me right in the chest, right in the solar plexus with his helmet, and I totally whited out. I was standing there. I mean, he didn't knock me over. I bounced back, right? But I was just like, I couldn't see anything. I got it's. I like, and then the coach goes, "That's what happens when a bowling ball hits you, right?" I go, "Yeah, I still can't see anything." Now, that guy was badass. He won before the year I was there. They won state championship, and he was on that team.
Nice.
It was awesome.
And that was in Texas.
Oh, it was in Hawaii.
Oh, Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah, I played ball in Texas too when I was a little kid.
Dude, you got to train your boys a bit harder. When he makes a mistake, don't go, okay, try again. You got to say, hey, give me 10 or give me 20 push-ups. Go run a lap.
You're probably gonna. You've seen my videos, right? We're always doing something active and fucking around. I just like to show shit that I'm doing with them and stuff. It's kind of fun. Plus, they can share it when they get older and see how
Oh,
stupid my dad was and all that shit.
one
But
thing also,
go.
your other son who's receiving, should make sure that he puts his hands out to where your other son should be targeting.
Yeah, I told him that when
Okay.
I actually told him that. I said you have to give him a target. There's no target. You got to give him a target.
Yeah.
But we do a lot of training together, and it's good for me because I'll show them a couple or 3 times, maybe 4, maybe to do a
Mm-hmm.
certain thing, and then they're doing it 20 or 30 times, and then we also will run hills, and I'll show them how to run hills and stuff too. But it's not just good for them; it's good for me. But my dad, who was pretty stern on training, we used to run over the coral reef
You're
rocks.
frozen.
Yeah, you're frozen too. Let me see what's going on.
I wonder if that's me.
Internet connection unstable. Let me see where I'm at as far as my signal. Hang on.
There, that's better.
Internet
Yeah, you want to
speed.
close out other browsers
Yeah.
or anything like that.
I'm just going to do a quick speed test. Yeah. It's usually at about first about 30. Contacting server. Oh, see, now it's taking time just to do that. Okay, there it goes up. Ooh, yuck. Oh, come on. Come on. Get up there.
Close close your browsers. Anything else that might take up bandwidth?
Right. Like Facebook and Twitter. They take a ton of stuff.
I think with this, so
Okay, I'm at 8.48. Oh my god. Megabytes per second download, and then this is ridiculous. I'm telling you. I don't even know why. That just shouldn't happen. That's not even legal. Damn net neutrality. They're already going after me. I can tell you right now. What's happening is the DNC notified the internet hackers that work that now they're going after me. Oh, that guy, he's starting to bring green people on the net, and they're actually getting an audience, and they're getting likes and subscribes. So now let's go after him and lower his internet speed to nothing. My God, it just fluctuates. So now I'm at, and then I just did it again, and I'm at 25 megabits per second testing download. My upload is kind of weak. It should be over 11. I'm at 7.5.
That's because you're already uploading stuff right now.
Yeah, so. Or something. So the move is going as according to plan.
I guess there's a lot involved. I'll discuss it sometime. I kind of want to discuss gun control, the push.
I want to discuss gun control because I'm telling you, I've heard so much shit from people on me, and I'm saying, look, I've hunted, I've shot guns. If we don't go after those people that are selling them, here's an idea I had. Here's an idea I had. You know
Because
how they
we're
have
pretty much polar. We're polar opposites in gun control.
not really. I am for the Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I just want it's not gun control because I want industry control and how they sell the guns. Because you can go buy guns at trade shows in parking lots, and that's been on YouTube a few times.
Yeah, but there are states like in Nebraska, you don't need to register your firearms that you buy. You don't need a license to buy guns in Nebraska. You never know. I mean, anyone could come to Nebraska, buy a gun, go somewhere else
Yeah.
illegally, and they won't know exactly.
And so I was thinking maybe if this is I think a brilliant idea is if you were to have a serial number on the gun that would trace it to the person that buys it, and that the person that buys it is always responsible for that gun. Let's say, for example, you have a gun in your locker. Somebody breaks into your locker. You're not at home for on vacation, right? And they take this happens some not all the time, but it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't really know what happened to your guns and how it was used until you get come back and something heinous or very bad happened with your guns that were stolen out of your house. Because you were on vacation, you were covered because you didn't have anything to do with it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, Massachusetts has that. If you have it registered within the state, and you want to keep that registration separate from where you keep your guns, so if your gun gets stolen, your registration is there, and you can report it as stolen. And anything that happens with it, it won't. You're not liable for it.
Well, I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah, I bet there's still a lot more. I'd have to look at the statistics, but I mean, it depends. It's based on of not just deaths, total number of deaths, but deaths by amount of population divided by, say, 100,000 people. But like, if you look at, and I'll show you. Sorry, there you go. Yeah. All right. Trying to share the screen. Let's see. So if you look at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention,
right,
the number of deaths for leading causes of death, you're never going to see gun-related deaths there. Top one is heart disease at over 633,000, cancer almost 600,000, accidents might have a little bit of gun-related accidents, but as you can see, there's really, and like suicide, mostly gun-related.
mm-hmm.
So you'll never see guns in the top 10, yet it's always in the news as like the most worrisome. People are always afraid of it. Gun violence archive.org. Yeah, pretty cool maps of just like heat maps and things like that they keep track of. You can see that where they're getting all their data from.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you even count total number of incidents, it's nowhere near even the bottom 10, which is 44,000. But this isn't even number of deaths. Actual number of deaths and injuries is 1,856, which is not too much. And then the mass shootings, 30. I'm not sure if it counted the recent shooting.
I don't even think they counted Las Vegas. I mean, I don't know if that's accurate, dude.
I don't know. And then when you look at the like the wikis, I mean, these are just kind of all over the place for data. What I looked through is just homicides, and you look at guns per 100 inhabitants, and these are death per rate per 100,000 population per year. The United States has got 3.6 for homicides. It's got double that for suicides, and pretty much a lot less for unintentional. You got Venezuela, like you got Honduras, Venezuela. I mean, they got some crazy numbers here. Venezuela, they had banned guns since 2012. So they've got 39, while US has 3.6. And when you look in regards to guns per 100 inhabitants, US has a lot more. They should be having. I mean, it's just if you compare 101 to different countries, you're going to have discrepancies.
But yeah, it's different population.
Yeah, different culture.
Different culture.
But let's see.
Here's the biggest question, though, Evan. The biggest question that everybody's asking is why I gotta fix this. Why don't we find a solution to keep crazy people? What the fuck is it? Oh, can't talk right now. Sorry. I didn't call you. But anyway, um, how do you keep a gun out of the hands of a crazy kid or a crazy man or a crazy woman or a crazy American?
I think they'll find ways. It's just hard.
Yeah.
Um, if you look at Australia, like if you look at the news, the mainstream media, one of them says, "Let's look at Australia. They haven't had any mass shootings since like 1996." Except that's false, of course. Saying mainstream media is, you know, telling false news
But
is is like a Trump thing, but it's true. Um, but like I think in 2014, even maybe it was 2016, there was a mass shooting. I mean, I wouldn't call it a mass shooting. It was like 8 people dead. You could look it up on Wikipedia. It's there, and just the source of that. And it still happens. It's just not as shown as mainstream media shows it. And of course, I wonder if those mass shootings. I mean, even the UK has mass shootings still. Um, it's things you can't kind of get rid of unless you get rid of guns everywhere. And the main point of the Second Amendment is once a country becomes a totalitarian state, you see a lot more people who get the population gives up their guns. You see a lot of murders occur, and that's the entire point. And those, how many countries have become totalitarian states where that's actually occurred? The number is very high. It's pretty consistent that country at one point in time will have some form of totalitarian regime occurrence. Sometimes, most of the time, it's temporary, but most of the time that occurs is when the population is unarmed. So, I
are you
mean,
trying to
it's
say that? Okay, this is where you need to understand. You're in the military. You know
yeah.
for a fact that there's no way in hell one tank. Uh, all it's going to take to take out a town that wants to revolt against the government is a tank, an Apache helicopter, and one drone. That could be
So
L.A. All
that
of L.A. could have a gun. All of L.A. could have a gun, and all you need is a tank, an Apache helicopter, and a couple of drones, and everybody's screwed. There's just no
but
way we're going to be able to fight against.
but that's no. That's conventional warfare. Warfare is how we've always been losing. How the United States has always been losing, and we're not going after that one tank. We're going after people who are in power, family of people who are fighting against them. It's a crazy ass guerrilla warfare we're taking out, and you're basically posturing towards people who are fighting against you, and you're not going directly at them in their tanks. You're going at them at their homes, or their families' homes, and that's how the warfare is going to be fought. It's going to be ugly, but that's how you fight against a controlled government that's fighting against the people. You're not going to fight tanks, get all your
No,
little
I'm
militia army, and try to get it like their tanks or jets. That's not going to happen.
well. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. Okay, and throw in a couple of seals. You're not going to be able to take my stream is terrible right now. It keeps breaking up. I don't know what's going on. This is really weird. My internet speed is bad. It's here. I'll show you. It's just the live. It's just saying video low output. Not good. No, I'm just Evan. I'm just saying. If you are at all remotely saying that the United that let's just say everybody in the United States decided to go against everybody in the military that they'd have a
Yeah.
chance.
How many people own guns in America? About 100 million. Say about 100 million.
Okay, so with those pea shooters, nobody's
Do-
all they
how
have
many
all
people
they
are?
have to
How many?
do
How
all
many
they
people
have
are
to
in
do is
armed?
take out one city.
How many people are in armed services? Not all the people who own guns are in one city. They're all
Evan,
across America.
Evan, one city. They take out one large city with guns,
Yeah, and
and
they're going to have
everybody.
a lot more people going after them. Can you imagine the U.S. government blowing up one U.S. city, their own city? You think there's not
To
going to be
make a
any uprising
statement,
against that?
yes, they blew up the fucking Twin Towers, dude.
Yeah, but they blamed it on terrorists outside the country. There's still people
Exactly. Whoever they
who
want to blame it on. You I'm telling you, there's no way if there was ever a revolution in the United States against our own military, five branches, that we would have a slightest
yeah, there's a
chance.
chance. There's a chance.
No,
It's a
that's
better chance than
insanity.
us having no
I'm going to
weapons.
totally disagree with you.
Okay, okay.
That's insanity.
Is there a better chance with weapons with our guns than no guns at all?
I think there's a better chance just getting the right people
Okay,
into
then that's all you
office.
need. No, that's not going to always work. In a corrupt system, we're not going to put people in our office. 2016? What was the what was the lowest rate of approval for Congress? 11%. How many of the incumbents in Congress got reelected? 93 to 90%. How are we going to put people that we want in there? People that we don't want get reelected. It's not going to change by government if it's already a corrupt system. I mean, we just had to find different ways around it. But we're going to
What
want
is
to
your
give up
way
our
for
guns.
everybody to start shooting at the government? I mean, is that what you're saying?
Corrupt government. I mean,
do you know which ones are corrupt and which ones not corrupt?
well, that's what that's our job, isn't it?
No, I
So
mean,
if we go after, I mean, look at even Hillary Clinton. We see how corrupt she is,
yeah.
and no one's doing anything. Not even Donald Trump.
No, nobody's doing anything.
Yeah, and how many guns do we have in this world? And
Well,
how many Hillary Clinton haters do we have
I'll go in
this
with you.
in our
All
country?
right. Can
And
we
there are one going after them with a gun.
do you want to before you start your revolution with your guns ablazing, can we try to let the Green Party do something first?
Yeah, you guys can try it all you
Okay.
want. I'm
Okay.
not gonna, by them saying that we should give up our guns, same thing that the Democrats are saying.
I'm not
We
saying to
never
give
change
up
it
our
because we're
guns.
independent
I've
or
never said
Republicans to
give up
vote
our
for.
guns. I've just said that there needs to be a way to put some controls on some guns that are out there in the hands. Maybe do not just a background check, but I mean, if you have a history of violence, or maybe you're on medication because you're so fucked up in the head, you shouldn't be able to get a gun. Am I right?
Well, yeah. I mean, some of those checks are there for most of these states. It's all based on the state.
Yeah,
The
I
federal
like your
programs
law in
have
Massachusetts. You know,
that. Yeah.
I want people to go out and
I
hunt.
mean,
I want people to go out and be able to protect themselves, and you know, but I don't want people to get all.
but are you really so scared of being in a mass shooting? How many people that you know have been killed by gunfire?
That I
I mean, you've been
personally
in the military.
know,
Yeah, that you
thankfully,
personally
nobody.
know. Exactly, none. How about you, Ryan? How about you,
Oh,
Stevie?
no, no. I've seen a gun, 3 times,
Mhm.
except for police.
And Stevie, how many people do you know that have been killed by gunfire?
A couple, but yeah, it wasn't like a mass shooting or anything like that.
Yeah. But how many people have seen people die in car crashes that they know of?
I don't know. What is your
More.
point with the
Because
amount of people?
the amount of
It's
people
random.
dying from gunfire and the amount of people that own guns, I mean, there's so many people that own guns in the U.S., but the amount of deaths that occur is very low from it. And we're all scared. Everyone's fearful of this whole gun mass shooting thing. That you'll probably
There
the odds
should
of
be
you
some fear.
the odds of you
That's normal.
being involved in a mass shooting is less likely than you winning the lottery.
Yeah, but you got to remember
Still, it
some people.
happens.
Some
We've
people
got to
get
find
that.
ways. Go ahead,
Are
Brian.
unfortunate to get that. Some people are unfortunate to be have that statistic come true. And to use a car crash as an analogy, there's not very many people who go out there and
Deliberately use their car as a
deliberately
weapon.
use their vehicle to run people over. Maybe there was one in a protest that killed that poor lady. But I
The
mean,
Dodge.
these people are purposely obtaining weapons that can maim and kill
To
people
cause bodily harm on people.
and purposely go out. Look, I'm all for the rights for people to have guns, but I think there's got to be tighter control. I think people have got to be what's the word? Held accountable for the guns that they own. So registration numbers have got to stay with the person. If that gun finds its way out to somebody else and that gun has been sold on, then that information needs to be held on somewhere.
To the next person. Your
Mhm.
own state has it. Massachusetts, doesn't it stay with the person that has the gun? I mean, if I lived in Massachusetts and you sold me a Glock or something, and I said, okay, so you have to go down and register it, or you can just report it yourself that you sold it to so and so. Is that the way that law works?
I believe I still keep the paperwork that I originally got, and you get one as well from the state that you got it, and I sold it to you.
Okay.
So they
Well,
didn't know that.
I think that's a good idea. That makes
I
that
think
next
it's a good
person
idea.
responsible.
I mean,
Yeah.
it should be the responsibility of the person who's selling it and the responsibility of the person who's buying it to make sure that the information is as correct as possible. Therefore, they can, if the gun is used in a mass shooting or even a robbery, and they find it, then they can track that gun back to the last
Then
person.
how is that going to even stop these mass shootings occurring? The whole purpose of these gun laws is to prevent it. And you're not going to prevent it by this registration system.
But
if a gun is stolen, it's stolen.
Yeah, but you got to register it to be stolen, and you've got to be held accountable for it to be stolen. Why isn't it locked away?
Well, if it is locked away, most people who go inside homes and steal stuff, they'll steal guns because they know they can sell it on the black market for a lot bigger price because they know that can't be traced to them.
Then why aren't the people who own the guns being held accountable for that?
Why should they? As long as they report that it's being stolen, there should be no accountability.
Well, no, there should be an accountability that the gun is stored safely and securely.
Yeah, for example, the UK has a process where they go in, or no, maybe it's Germany, that they go in and they do random checks on gun owners to make sure that their guns are properly stored, etc. And that could be one of the things, but still, people who steal guns or whatever, but have your guns stolen, it's that whole process of accountability isn't going to stop mass shootings.
No, but if you sell your gun onto someone who shouldn't have it, then it should be up to you, the seller, not to sell that gun to the person who wants to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, you could make it so the only way you could sell guns is to sell it to maybe people who are like, I don't know.
See, that's the problem. We don't know. One day, Evan can just be totally cool with everything, and then one day something just triggers him, and he just decides to go do something.
And that's the thing with mental illness or whatever checks. Like, hey, maybe you're fine 1 year. Next year, you're not. The year after that, maybe you're not. I mean, whenever someone wants to buy a gun, you're just doing a background check that one time. Things could change in 5-6 years. And, it's like, hey, this person.
That would be up to the government to ensure that checks are made more regularly. And then those checks, when you're selling guns between people, should be relied upon, and therefore the government can't have any recourse. But if the government's doing its best job to make sure that people who have a license to buy and sell firearms, and that should be anybody who is of sane mind. There shouldn't be any reason for that. But my point is that if you go like to a gun show in Tennessee and buy off someone who's
in the parking lot.
in a gun show on a table by himself and is a private seller, you can buy whatever you want from them. That can't be right.
Well, in certain states, you don't even need to have a gun like a license. I guess you don't even have to register your gun.
Sorry.
In Nebraska, you don't have to do that stuff.
Sorry.
And so these gun shows, it's. I mean, I think I don't. The people who buy these guns, unless they're selling them black market, I mean, it's tracing. It's one thing, but preventing people from using it wherever they get it from, that's almost impossible to stop.
Oh, look, it's impossible, Ed, to use your analogy. It's impossible to stop car accidents, but you've got to put things in place to minimize the risk. You know, I don't believe.
What I'm saying is we got to do as much as we can to minimize that.
Yeah, I don't believe in you should give up your guns.
Yeah,
but I believe that there should be tighter restrictions on who should be allowed to and who shouldn't be allowed to, and every gun that is of supposedly of legal standing has a serial number, so that serial number should be traced wherever that gun goes and to whoever owned it at the time.
But how do we dictate who should own a gun or not? Like any criminal history? Go ahead, Dave.
I think part of it is stupidity. I mean, when you're acting like a stupid person with a gun, I mean, my father had a history of being stupid with guns, shooting guns like in the front yard, blowing a friggin' snake away in a ditch with a 357 Magnum to look like a badass, almost blowing his shoulder off, like, you know, shooting a gun like this. And he did have a sawed-off shotgun, and apparently he found out. He bragged about it for a while before turning it over to the cops because it was used in a just doing stupid nonsense. You should at least keep these people at least for a while until they get some kind of gun training, or they can show that they can act like they have good sense. I've known, you know, I knew someone who blew his own toe off while cleaning his gun. You know, you're going to hurt somebody or yourself if you don't know how to. It's not just people with mental disorders either. Personally, I don't want to be anywhere near a gun, nowhere near one. You know, with my condition. And it's not, you know, it's just I don't like them. I don't want to be around them. I don't care for them.
Yeah.
And like here in Australia, we had a gun shop that got robbed. Like we do have gun shops because we do have competitive shooters. We do have hunters that go out and hunt and licensed shooters to go out and kill vermin like deer and camel and rabbit and all that type of stuff. But the guns shop that everybody goes to got robbed, and they took like I think it was 6 or 7 guns. So now they're already like putting laws into place that guns that are on the shelves in gun shops are fake guns. They're not real. They're fake. Right. Like when you go into a cell phone store, all the phones that are on the stands, they're all fake. They're not actual phones. So the law just happens like that. And I think the gun shop got robbed a week and a half ago, and the laws are getting put into legislation.
Why are AR-15s legal? What honest to God use is there for an AR-15 for the public to be able to use it?
They're actually more reliable guns than the AR-15, at least as far as rifles are concerned. I would rather have something like a M14 or M1A, whatever, And they're more reliable. They're not going to jam on you, and you got the same type of killing power as an AR-15.
I don't know why, everybody, or it seems as though people who are involved in these mass shootings are using the AR-15. So I don't know why, but
it's just popular. It looks cool. Looks more militaristic. Is in my opinion probably what it is. But here's the thing: every mass shooting that we've uncovered, FBI have always been tipped off. So FBI's have always been in fault. Look at the Boston Marathon bombing. Look at the Las Vegas shooting. Even look at the one in Florida. There was a Secret Service agent a few weeks before school. What the hell is a Secret Service agent doing at a public school, high school in Florida? And I mean, it's all coincidental that people could think, but okay. FBI knew about these people in question, and they're saying that there's even social media where they saw all these things like even a year in advance.
Look,
so either they're just not doing a good job to prevent it, or they're just allowing it.
The Virginia Tech shooting, the campus cops knew about this kid for a really long time. I don't know if you know Nikki Giovanni, who is like the star professor. She's an English professor. She knows Toni Morrison, that whole thing. She was a star professor of Virginia Tech at the time, and she told Virginia Tech that if that kid wasn't out of her class, she would not teach at Virginia Tech anymore. And she'd been there for over a decade. That's how serious it was. And they knew about this kid, number one. And number two, a year prior, there was someone who had escaped a local prison and somehow got on campus. They had been building campus security for a year when this happened. The kid left his, actually killed 2 people in his dorm room, left, went to the post office a couple of miles away, walked there, then came back in April in a freaking trench coat. Okay. To me, I'm like, what the hell? And they didn't lock down. They knew about the initial 2 people who got shot a while before he came back and continued. It makes no sense. To me, it makes absolutely no sense. Ryan's right. You have to have some kind of modicum of sense when it comes to this kind of thing. There are things that you can do, even as things are happening. They should have gotten everybody off campus, or like at least in their rooms, and they had security all over the place and had campus cops everywhere. They didn't do that.
Yeah.
They allowed the kid to walk back in. That one infuriates me. It really does.
And we know that our secret agencies are doing mass surveillance on us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and yet they can't, with all the surveillance and stuff that they're doing, they can't stop these mass shootings even when they know about it. What good are they?
Want to?
What good is,
do they want to? Are we talking false flag? What are we talking about?
Is it a political agenda for disarmament, etc.?
Right.
Who knows?
Well, I wanted to say something. Hi.
Go Eagles.
What's quite obvious is that all those mass shootings happen in the suburbs or rural counties. All of them. That does not happen in the inner cities.
That's an interesting point, because
Pulse nightclub though. That was Fort Lauderdale.
Well, the bombing in Boston happened out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
the FBI knew about them too.
Yeah.
Because Putin warned them, but he's an enemy now.
So are you saying, Eben? Are you saying that it's somewhat of a little conspiracy, or maybe there's something going on to unarm us?
Because I think so.
That narrative is out there in a big way.
So.
Or to continue the
you-
surveillance because we're a threat to one another.
And then Eben had another point. So if they can spy in on whoever they want at any time they want, the NDAA gives them that ability. And I don't want to get crazy in conspiracies here unless I have information, but this is just speculation
Where's my
and
tinfoil hat?
and be in perspective. So if I'm able to spy on people, then I get some red flags and some of the things that they're saying on their Facebook, which I'm sure they have algorithms for. Who knows? Hate, kill, destroy, government, kids, school, whatever they fucking say.
Same progressive.
Yeah, same. Whatever. Right? Are they able to focus in on those people? So what Eben is saying, if they're able to focus in on those people, or I mean on anybody, how come they can't stop some kid who's saying, I want to sell guns, I want to kill, I want to do all this other stuff?
I don't think they want to.
You think they're letting them do it?
9/11, perfect
go ahead.
example.
Go ahead, Snark.
Let's Snark here.
There's another side to it. After every one of these shootings, there's always a call for gun control,
Right.
which always leads to a huge uptake in sales and weapons and ammunition.
Ah.
Right. Yeah,
Huge
that's another thing.
I was going to go out and buy another Mossberg. That's what I was going to do.
Yeah. So like this week, you won't find any available units left. They'll all be sold out. I remember, what was the one back at around 2010 where you could not make a sniper bullet without having it already be sold before it even came out of the machine.
Yeah.
Well, automatic weapon sales will go through the roof because people are going to think that they're going to be illegal, they're going to be banned. I've seen that before.
Mhm.
After Vegas, that
But
happened.
these people that benefit from these huge sales uptakes
Right.
are the donors to the campaigns. Ryan's district, his state, does not allow the keeping of background checks for more than 72 hours. They must be destroyed.
Well, gun sales went down after Obama left.
Nebraska also bans the keeping of record checks.
Yeah.
There's other states that do it too. And so there's a list of them. I just only remembered the two.
So
I think the other part of this is that, they kind of use these instances to keep us scared of one another, to keep us closed off from each other. I mean, all these things, of course, happen in large groups of people. You got schools, concerts, clubs, just wherever there's a large amount of people. So it's like, it kind of conditions people to make them afraid to go out and mingle in their community and to talk to other people and to be in large groups. I mean,
and organize.
when you look at like the number of festivals and stuff, I know some of it has to do with budgeting, but like around here, I mean, we used to have the regatta, we used to have all these like major like community events. We don't have them anymore. I mean, like, when's the last time that like even in y'all's areas, like, it used to be you can go out and like mingle within your community, and like now it's so hard to do.
That went away after 9/11 in New York. But Stevie, why wouldn't I be afraid of you? You won't even come on camera. I don't even know it's you.
I'm a Russian bot.
Who knows?
Our local.
Hey, did anybody see Nico House video tonight? He said Congress trying to pass a bill for us to wear wristbands to watch where we go.
Oh, they're starting that now? Okay.
Yeah, and the mainstream media is not talking about it.
Yeah, I think they tried implementing that in certain states too, just kind of like a trial.
It's called Fitbit.
Yeah, why do they want to do that when they already do it through
Just
private?
put a fire sale on Fitbits. You'd be laughing.
Oh, and there's a thing that Facebook is trying to push a VPN, but instead of actually protecting the user, they're actually giving away private information from that user's VPN. to other companies and whatnot. Yeah, so
Oh.
don't utilize Facebook's VPN. If I forget the name of it, but yeah.
The reason I brought that question about the Safe at Home program, and it just Alex Padilla just posed it. It's supposedly a protection from people who had been been previously trafficked, or the people who are who have been stalked or abused in the past. But my question, I'm not surprised that he didn't know, because it's a brand new thing. My thing is, though, how do you determine who's eligible for the program? Because it kind of seems like a way to kind of go deep undercover. I mean, they protect everything. You don't know people's addresses or email addresses or anything. It's a way to like really, protect everything, and you don't know where the hell this person is. But now all of a sudden, David Koch claims he's going to be, and now you can't find him. He like it really goes deep undercover. It just, I don't know. Anything that sounds that good,
There's a catch to it. Is that what you're saying?
So I'll take a look into it, but
you need to look more. When they start passing these laws,
why just those people? Why can't we have privacy too? I don't know.
But every time something's proposed, wait, hold on. Every time something's proposed, it's concerning to me. Everything new. When I see a new bill, something new, like when right, what is that called? Stand Your Ground came up. I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool. And then the next thing you know, if you're scared, you can just shoot people.
Right.
Because you have a gun, it's okay. So I would have been shot a long time ago if I lived out there, because I'm not a small guy. I scare people just walking next to them. I mean, I'm not saying if you're a big man, and you know what I mean, and you see what I'm saying? This is stupid.
Well, that was that whole shooting with what's his name? Was it Trayvon?
Trayvon
Martin.
Yeah, and I can't remember the guy.
Yeah, that was just terrible.
Oh, stand your ground.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of laws out there that I think can help, and I think some things that definitely should be implemented. But I don't want to make it so there are people out there that take good care of the guns. They've trained. They know what to do with them. They use them for hunting. They may store something just in case aliens or the CIA come over or something. Who knows? Everybody has their reasons. But the thing is what is if we tighten up on a lot of things, then I don't want to restrict people from feeling like they're free to have their guns. But at the same time, so we have to be very selective, since I guess we're the council now or something, but we have to be selective to make sure we're not hurting the person that's being responsible, putting trigger locks on their guns and storing them away and doing the right things with their guns and training and registering them and doing those things. I don't want to screw those people over in our process.
Well, it's just like with a car, because a car is dangerous. If you get drunk and do something stupid and shoot somebody in the foot, you just showed that you're not responsible with a weapon in your hand. So you should not have it until you determine. And one rule about laws, when they have really cool names, they're generally a bad idea. No Child Left Behind is generally a bad idea from what
Just say no.
Yeah.
Was it the Freedom Act or something like that?
Yeah,
also,
the Freedom Act.
Yeah.
Desert Storm.
To just say no bullshit never works anywhere.
It's so fucking ridiculous anyway.
Hey, Dave,
Hey,
pay your
Eric.
taxes.
Hey, Joe. Hey, everyone.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Eric, how you
So
doing?
did you guys also see a high official, a professor from the UN, just pretty much whistle blew that for the last 10, 20 years, there have been almost 60,000 rapes per year perpetrated by UN, UNICEF or whatnot.
Oh, the
And,
White Hats? The White Hats fucking raping rampage?
And the blue
not
hats.
just the white.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And they employ like 300 pedophiles or something like that. It's just
It
crazy.
was sickening. It was
What's the ash cross on people's heads? What's that symbol?
That's Ash Wednesday.
Yeah, we have Ash
that's-
Wednesday too, but we don't do that.
It's a I think Catholic thing where it signifies the rebirth of Christ. I think, is that right?
Did you see Mick Mulvaney in a Senate hearing with it on? He actually had the cross on his forehead,
He
stumbling,
had a lot of nerve.
splitting and splitting his way through the bullshit he was trying to spit out for the government, because they were asking him about the Trump military parade, and they estimated it to be at about $30 million for the parade, and he had the cross on his forehead.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a Catholic thing. I think Good Friday is when Jesus sacrificed himself for everyone, and then his resurrection occurred on the Wednesday or something. So that's why. Yeah, Good
You
Friday.
can tell I'm not religious.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's something else.
Ash Wednesday for us is like when a really bad bushfire swept through Victoria in, I think it was the late 70s or early 80s. It was a massive bushfire. It was huge. Wiped out a good part of the state.
I think it has to do with Valentine's Day, because Good Friday is until next month, the end of March. So Ash Wednesday. Yeah, so Ash Wednesday wouldn't occur until the Wednesday after. Sorry, go ahead, Amanda.
Okay, it says Ash Wednesday derives its name from the placing of repentance ashes on the forehead in the shape of a cross of participants, either the words repent, all about repentance.
Okay.
Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return, among Roman Catholics.
Working in the Chicago area.
What?
Working in the Chicago area, I thought it was very divisive that people did that in plants. It's almost like a shaming where they want their constituents or their flock to go out and market themselves. So in a factory of 5,000 people, you'll see 3,000 people show up with a cross on their head. Well, the people that don't come within a cross with their head, if they're known to be Catholics, the other Catholics can kind of harass them about it. And I always thought it was a horrible thing that allowed the people to be publicly harassed by what their religion was.
Well, if either side is stupid enough to put power to that.
All kinds of religious jewelry and stuff like that at workplaces, either side of having something dangling, it's dangerous. But the cross is more of a PR stunt by the church than anything else, to show who showed up. And actually, if they show up, I think they're supposed to give a donation. To me, it's a fundraising drive and a PR shaming of anybody that didn't show up and get their cross.
Well, if anybody's stupid enough to put any power behind that, then that's on them.
It used to be if you didn't have that cross, you could get killed. A long time ago, if you didn't have your cross on that day, didn't show up, do your tithing, this was back in the European days, you would have been killed. So generation after generation, that policy became so normal. You don't you don't neglect. I mean, like all girls when they turned whatever age, Lutherans, whatever, at the schools I went to would have the cross on. No girl would go to school without her cross. This was a rural Iowa school. But, same thing. It was just shaming. You didn't want to be the one student that was not showing that you were completely religious.
Maybe Mulvaney wants to bring that back. Start killing people that's not wearing a cross.
I'm ready for it.
Al Gore wanted to remove atheists from the United States.
Eben's got all his guns.
Yeah, they can send me to hell if they can damn well try.
Yeah,
go to hell yourself.
Yeah, Al Gore. One of the things that he had stated prior to the '88 nomination was that he thought that atheists should not be allowed to be citizens or have a residency here. And I believe that he actually probably lost because of that in 2000.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, I didn't know about it.
Wow. Like, oh, good.
Gore was a theology major in school.
It's just hearing that. He shouldn't have said that. That's like, that's insane.
The internet's here. I'll pull it up.
Awesome. And the thing is,
Gore,
and they would have fought him on it though too, and that would have been a good thing.
No, the public would have just laid down for that. They would have gone along with it.
No, I doubt it.
Well, would they put because they typically put lump agnostics with atheists, so I would have been part of that.
If that was the case, I would have been dead a long time ago. I haven't even been baptized.
Didn't Al Gore forget like freedom of religion?
He argued that
Only for him.
religion is not a religion. That's what he would argue.
No, he said freedom of religion is not freedom from religion.
Ah, okay. Well, yeah.
Like with me, freedom of religion, you're allowed to believe in whatever the fuck you want, as long as you're not like killing people and molesting people and like torturing people. I'm fucking cool with it. But if you preach, forceful, like terrible things, then I'm not for that kind of shit.
What could have been done is they could have gone full hog with the Jedi religion.
Well, what I would have said is inventing of the internet is not the same as the funding of the inventing of the internet.
And be careful, Eric, because, being against abuse and, child abuse and all that, that's going against the Democratic mantra, apparently. I don't really, Jesus.
You know what? It's the Democrats, they have reduced themselves down to like lecturing, label, and blaming, and I'm just done with that crap.
Well, you say you have to be religious. It's okay if you abuse people, just as long as you have a religion.
No abuse.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying. I mean, you look at all the stuff that has come out with Pizzagate and all of these things coming out.
I mean, we know for sure the Roman Catholics
Right.
had a big abuse going on for ages, and people are still into the religion still, and a lot of it was covered up. Go ahead, Ryan.
So we've had a lot of generations that have been stolen from their parents here in Australia because the government seems to think that their kind of care is the only kind of care that's valid. But we've had royal commissions into child abuse recently, and they set aside a staggering amount of money for people who've been victims of child abuse. And the one thing that comes out time and time again is it's because of religion that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Systematic child abuse, raping children is okay because they moved a priest from one parish to another when it came to light that they were abusing kids at that parish.
It's no wonder why I'm like an agnostic atheist. I mean, yeah, I actually do have some beliefs in like certain things, but there's certain things I don't want to fucking believe in because that's like a form of, ideology that they want to force people. It's okay to hurt people and be so fucking inhumane and feel good about yourselves while fucking doing it. That's the way I actually do take it.
You'll see in all the religious texts, there's it's okay to do something to some type of not people who are sharing the same religious faith, people who are from certain type of region. It's okay because God says, or the religious text says that God says.
Historical, it's the divine right.
Mhm.
I have the right to. God said that I could, cut your feet off or whatever.
Oh, remember Braveheart, the English king could have it so it's their right to that one of their officers or whatever can have sex with your wife or whatever.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
they even
Human
play
octave
that,
or something.
they play that religion card in Game of Thrones with Marjorie and her brother, and they
Right.
put them away because they've done things against the so-called God. You know what I mean? It's just when people give unwielding power to those who have read a book and memorized it and said a few prayers, then and they're selected into that power, they're not actually elected, then that's when you're going to start having problems.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, go Rebel.
I often hear people misquote that constitutional amendment of religion. It's not freedom from religion. It says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or are abridging the freedom of, it's like the word is of, not from, and it's just saying basically there's no law that can be made with religion as the, and you can't force anybody to.
Yep.
So it's like,
isn't it also, sorry, just quickly, buddy, and you can comment on this too, Rebel, but you can't also discriminate someone because of their religion. Is that also part of that amendment?
Well, they
I
can't.
believe so,
They
yeah.
cannot make a law that requires a bakery to bake a cake for a gay person if they don't want to, and it's like they can't use any part of religion at all when they're making laws.
Cool. Why don't you start an atheist religion, Eben?
I'm an
Like,
atheist.
We did. Science
You've
would
got
be
the
banned.
long locks and the beard and stuff like that. Start an atheist religion, and the mantra is free thinking.
Are
Yeah.
you an atheist, Evan?
No, I'm an agnostic.
Yeah, that's what I
There's-
thought.
The difference is there's no way to either, if there was a supreme being or some type of God that showed up, there's no way to know that God is exactly the God that of any official religion out there. I mean, if a being is that powerful, you wouldn't know the difference. They could just pretend to be that God
Right.
of that specific religion.
If we made atheism a religion, then science would immediately be banned from all classes
Yes.
in schools. And religion would be replacing it.
Well, atheists themselves would have a very big problem with that because that's what they're. What is
Well,
that sound?
don't call it a religion. Call it a gang or something.
That'd give them a reason to lock us up.
True.
It's a club. It's a hobby club.
Hobby club. Bingo. Hobby club.
Oh
Now-
my God.
The whole
They don't.
the whole immigration thing. From what I saw, the initial reaction that is what people criticizing what Trump was trying to do was saying that he was trying to basically ban the Muslim religion. That's what one of the criticisms were originally, I believe, when he came out with the deportation. Almost people started saying Muslim ban back in January, February last
but only on certain countries, the Middle Eastern countries, not necessarily countries that are like almost 100% Muslim, which is like Indonesia. It's basically the Islamic State, which is the political ideology of Muslims, much like the Zionism is the political ideology of Jews. And then you could go into the rabbit hole of the entire Albert Pike thing of how World War III is going to be fermented.
Right. Yep.
Islam against Zionist Israel.
Saturnism and Christianity and
And there's a point, like I heard one thing where like Islam is a tool because the religion hasn't changed in 400 years, as opposed to Christianity or Catholicism, where it's undergone some changes, as opposed to Muslim faith, which hasn't changed at all.
Yeah, the church has changed quite a bit, and that's kind of how I try to phrase it to my dad. It's like, you say God is not changing, and then why do you practice differently than when you practiced 20 years ago?
Mhm.
Why can people get divorced now? You know what I mean? Like, how did the interpretation change? So I mean that's something that it's hard to frame to people, because that pokes holes into their belief system once they start.
I think also there's
Thanks
been
for that, Chad. I'm going to use that on my cousin.
I think there's also the thing where there's been a drop off of people believing in religion. Whereas probably in the 50s and 60s, going to church was a very common thing, whereas now it's not really that common. So laws reflect generally, and I use this very, very as a general term. It's what we use here in Australia. Is the laws reflect what's happening in society at the time. So if there's less people going to church, then there's less people believing in the church theology. Therefore, the only thing that's stopping you from getting divorced is the church. Then we need that law changed because I don't believe in the church anymore.
Well, decades ago, I mean, the church was a social gathering place.
It was the hub.
Yeah, and it was the hub. And it was places where, someone was in trouble, the neighborhood would get together and help that person out, or, bring food to a funeral, or celebrate a wedding, or whatever it was, bake sales to help somebody, in trouble. We don't really have that anymore.
The church needs a new roof, so they have a bake sale. There's things like that, and it's not. To be honest, like in Australia, when I look back, the church was also what divided Australia because of our multiculturalism. So you had people who were Catholic would go up against Protestants and stuff like that, because that's what happened back in England. So they still had that sort of mentality over here. So church brought people together sometimes to fight other people.
Right.
And, you know, it was a badge of honor to come back to the church with missing teeth and punched in the face and bleeding and all that type of stuff, you know.
It's a support system, you know. It's like everybody gets together. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's some sense of community, and then there's that, you know, you were talking about it, like there's the problem is they feel like, okay, as long as I ask God for forgiveness, then it doesn't matter what I've done, it doesn't matter how I act, it doesn't matter what I do, how I treat people, you know, it's all up to God, like my relationship with God. But they fail to realize that that's your relationship between you and God is not the same as people around, and you still have to live with the consequences of your actions. You know, it's very scapegoaty. You know, I mean, and that's, and I tried to. You can't even get people to have the conversation. It's like anything, any criticism, you know, is. I can't believe you would even say anything. I can't believe you would even question something. I can't believe you would even, you know, anything that's different from kind of the mainstream of what's going on. And then, you know, you hear from the other Christians like, oh, well, we don't talk. We do it in house. I'm like, you guys do it in house? Really? Then, you know, then why do you have leaders that are jerks? You know?
Here's the thing that I was like is that I want to happen. If there's ever another holy war, what they used to have, just similar to Trial by Combat and Game of Thrones, if you watched it, but two armies, one of the leader of the one army would challenge another leader of the other army, and whoever wins. They don't have to have an actual war where people are killing each other, so it saves lives. And typically, if it's a holy war where it's one, say, Christian champion versus a Muslim champion, you know, it's who God, then it's that God is favoring that champion is the winner. But that's never going to happen. And you probably don't see that happening. They'll still fight anyways, because if it was like that, then there really wouldn't be an issue, because it's like, imagine just being an army like the Christian army, and then your Christian champion loses. It's like, oh my goodness, God didn't bless him, and what goes on through their minds. Of course, there's probably fear speaking out where they don't want to say, okay, the Christian God lost. Let's all become Muslims.
Yeah, see, I don't think even the American military could use religion as their basis of going to war anymore, because you have so many different religious backgrounds enlisted in the military. I mean, you even have Muslims enlisted in the military. So, yeah. I mean, the whole idea that we could use religion to sort of spark on the military is sort of a redundant thing. Whereas if you talk about Saudi Arabia, and it's like, it'll be all about the Muslim faith and Allah and all that, and they'd be screaming Allah Akbar and all that type of stuff. So
religion was used heavily in our military. A lot of our weapon contracts actually call out for religious verses to be carved into the gun parts. The soldiers in the last Gulf War had to go to prayer meetings in order to take a shower. Here, many, the prison thing where prisoners get preferential treatment if they attend church. But back to the war, there was a football player, our American-style football player, who was a big football player, went over and he got fragged. Fragged is a term for when they selectively kill one of their own people for being an atheist.
Wow.
And then they played up that it wasn't that. It was just accidental friendly fire.
That was Pat Tillman? I didn't know he was an atheist.
He's an open atheist, so he got fragged.
They did a whole documentary on him too, and during that entire documentary, they didn't mention one thing about him being
then
an atheist.
they put out what kind of patriot he was for getting being in the war zone and going over there, but they never mentioned that he got fragged for being an atheist.
That's insane.
So our Air Force is basically run by fundamentalists. The chance of somebody who's not a fundamentalist getting through the Air Force Academy right now is very low.
Also, don't police over there have "In God We Trust" emblazoned on their vehicles and stuff like that?
We have it on our money.
Yeah, I know you have it on your money, but I was just.
But that wasn't
on some cop cars. They have had that. Yeah.
Yeah. In going for security clearance, there is a special clause for people that are not religious. They're on a kind of a probation. A guy that went in the Marines, he didn't list a religion on his application. So his first night in North Carolina, they placed him on an island. In the middle of the night, no weapon, no provisions, just put him on the island by himself with a piece of paper and a pen, and said that he had to have a religion picked by the next morning.
Yeah, and if you're going to file as a conscientious objector in the military, you can't be a non-religious conscientious objector. They don't consider that as being conscientious. You have to be part of a religion in order to be a conscientious objector.
Holy shit!
That's scary.
That's
Military is extremely
so
afraid of
fucking backwards.
They don't believe that they can ever be trusted.
Because when I had to go to court once, and I know when I went to court, they said, "Do you want the Bible, the Quran, or just a civil comment to say that you'll tell the truth?" And me being staunch against religion, obviously went with the non-religious one, but it was like 8 times longer than the religious one.
If you're a defendant in the United States and you choose to take the non-religious comment, you've lost your case.
Jesus.
Wow.
Well,
This is insane.
A while back, I looked at how many atheist politicians there are. I think there might be one currently. He's about 80 years old. He'll probably retire soon. Jesse Ventura was one. Barney Frank was one. There was one lady who was, but she pulled back on it because she was afraid she was going to lose her job. Historically, there have been about 4 or 5. That's it.
Jesse Ventura is my hero.
Oh, I love Jesse.
If you have to swear on a book, does George Carlin have a book out about certain words?
7 dirty words.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of the 7 dirty words, just a question: which one is your favorite? Like anyone?
P, the one that starts with P.
Pussy.
No. The one that starts with H. Hillary.
Yeah. Wasserman. I mean, Wasserman is probably my favorite. So
You're gonna get us tagged or flagged.
We're flagged already, I'm sure.
Oh, offensive speech. Well, it's free speech.
I'm going to see all you guys go like that crackly thing. All you guys get bombed, and I'm here in Australia going.
Did you say any book?
Waiting for it.
Did you say it? What did you say, Eric? What book?
Like what? The 7 dirty words. George Carlin, 7 dirty words.
Or 7 words you can't say on national TV. But I don't think he wrote a book on it. It's just one of his bits.
Okay.
That whole thing, that whole bit, went to the Supreme Court. So I think my favorite dirty word would probably be oligarchy. I don't think you can say that on television anymore.
Mine would be Illuminati. Luciferians. They don't like being called out at all.
Although apparently it's okay to do on Taco Bell commercials, which it's like, okay.
Taco Bell.
The Federal Communications Commission versus Pacifica Foundation. That was the lawsuit, the lodging of the complaint with the FCC, and Pacifica Foundation had to respond to the complaint.
The FCC are so fucking silly. They really are. It's all about censorship.
Well, I mean, it's all a big scam. They're all in it together. You know, they keep us sick. They keep us dumb. They keep us, you know, in a little box. You know, they design it where they, you know, pit people against each other. This shit's all planned out. I mean, I think Evan was right. Really, I mean, these motherfuckers, they set shit up or they let shit happen. You know, they help fuel the fire and then don't do anything about it, as if you know they don't have to or something. You know, but they give them the guns or they give them access or they do this. They're
either inept or culpable.
What do you want, man? You have the freedom to say whatever you want. Now, nobody's going to be able to hear you, but you have the freedom to say whatever you want.
Right.
It's sick. It's just sick to me.
So what about the what do you guys think of The Intercept? They did hit piece on Julian Assange.
I didn't hear.
I haven't read the whole thing, but I try. I don't know if you really criticize it and pay a lot of attention to a hit piece like that, maybe you give more power to it than it deserves. I was like, oh, okay, it's a hit piece, and I let it go. Maybe I should pay more attention to it. I don't know, but I think you identify it as a hit piece and say, look, it's a hit piece. Now we shouldn't pay attention to The Intercept anymore because I don't know what are they doing.
Yeah. There's more power to that because then The Intercept is probably gonna be like, yeah, we don't want to be lumped in the category of CNN.
Like I chose to feel my anger about it, but I did not share it on purpose because I did not want to be one of those that kept it, that let it breathe life. What is that echo?
I think it's Shirley.
You know, it's all acknowledgement. It's
No,
all
it's not me.
things.
I'm
It may
wearing.
be me. The system's being shook up.
Brad, is that you? Is that
No,
you? Is that
the system's being shook. Hello. No. Is it the same thing? Like if you notice, like the progressives have been on top of Jimmy Dore, especially about leaving TYT, and all of a sudden now they're starting to do debates on Russia. Like the pressure is getting to him because obviously he's answering back now, and there's a lot of conversation about, you know, really of that. Anyways, the point being is that we are making waves. People are making waves in what's going on. And if you're not getting hit pieces, that means the establishment's not scared. The establishment's not trying to discredit you because that's one of the waves, you know, is, you know, they ignore you, obviously, then they discredit you.
Exactly.
Then you win.
Did you guys hear that Adam Schiff came out and said the Russians are affecting our Second Amendment rights with the shooting?
He's gone crazy. He's gone crazy.
I'm like, this is unbelievable. He's looking for a position somewhere because I'm sick of seeing him on TV when my husband had him on.
I'm sorry.
I'll be back. I'm gonna put my kid to the crib.
You sound like you need a divorce, Shirley.
No.
Huh? What'd you say, Riley?
Don't do that.
Don't know bad mojo on it. What was I gonna say?
He believe he said they were taking over our Second Amendment rights. They like to see stuff like this, shooting up the schools and things. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about?
It's that Russian fever, man. I get you.
It's all propaganda. It's all You know what, Adam Schiff? He's a political propagandist. He already sold out his free speech just to spew propaganda on fucking fake news. That's what he does. I mean, that's actually how you see through the bullshit.
Back in the USSR.
And another thing, the FBI knew about this guy, and they said, "Oh, we couldn't tell." No, y'all focusing on Russia too goddamn much.
Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing with this NSA and all the spying that they do on us, and it's supposed to keep us safe. Well, where are they? How are they keeping us safe? What are they fucking doing? I mean, I'm not seeing anything. Are you preventing terrorist attacks? Nope. Are you preventing, anything? What? Show me something. And the things that they show that are preventative measures are stuff that they have forced people into doing. They're no. They do this all the time where they get people that are, messed up in the head or whatever, and they convince them to do these terrorist attacks, and then they stop them, right before it happens and say, see, aren't we the good guys? Even though they're the ones that convinced them to do it in the first place. It's it's totally insane. And when they talk about Russia and all this stuff, it's anything to distract from what just happened. Okay, the fact of the matter is we have people that just died from a mass shooting. Okay, we have a person that was out there that said, "Fuck life." I don't care about children. I don't care about any of this other stuff. This is a person that was absolutely. I mean, anybody that picks up a gun and wants to kill another person obviously has mental issues. And we live in this culture. This is a culture we live in where life is expendable. Whatever, who gives a shit? It's just your neighbor. It's just somebody in your community. It doesn't matter, whatever. I mean, life is so disposable today. I mean, that's just the culture we live in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, death is so normalized, and this is what happens. People buy into the propaganda and they start hating people that don't have anything to do with the situation. We're killing people, that literally did nothing. I mean, these people are angry. The ones that pick up the gun and do this stuff, I mean, they're angry, and rightfully so, but they're pointing their anger at people that literally had nothing to do with why things are so screwed up,
Well,
And
there's so much violence.
The Boston bombers, Russia warned the U.S. about that one brother. They knew about him. The U.S. knew about it. Did they want their bombing to go off?
Seems to be a common trend with a lot of these things. I mean, didn't they know somewhat about 9/11 before it happened?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
The thing that killed me, and people bring it up all the time now, is that $3 million went missing from the Pentagon on September 10th, 2001. The next day, a plane crashes into the Pentagon and just happens to take out all of the Pentagon accountants. So
yeah,
I'm like,
with no plane. It
Oops.
disintegrated. No
Yeah,
pictures
oops.
of
You know, what a coincidence. I mean, come on. So I see this pattern where a problem is created and then the government comes up with a solution miraculously. You know, and when do the government solutions really benefit the people? I'm sure it happens on occasion. They probably screw up every once in a while and benefit the people every once in a while. But I don't know. Oh, and leave Kratom alone. That's for Jenny. Leave Kratom alone, for Christ's sake. People are in pain. Can you fucking give somebody something?
It's illegal in Australia.
Is it?
Yep.
Why? What are they saying? It's an opiate?
Class 1 narcotic.
Is it really that destructive?
Anything that alters the mind and isn't from Big Pharma is illegal in Australia.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because I heard that they're talking about making it into pill form so that the pharmaceuticals can sell it. But then it would be okay. Then it would be safe.
Yeah. As long as they can make money off of it, it's totally safe. I mean, Kratom obviously is not as dangerous as Oxycontin, but Oxycontin is still legal. I mean, you've got all these drugs out there that are still legal. I mean, you've got Adderall, Oxycontin, morphine. I mean, like all this stuff that will knock you on your ass. What is it, barbiturates, all kinds of stuff. But that's legal. That's legal because we can tax it, and people can make money off of it.
I'm just
curious.
Well,
what I hate when I have to go to the store and get my son a Zyrtec D.
Right.
I got to make sure the pharmacy is open because they got to see my ID. I'm like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Stevie, do you know, other than Lisa, do you know anybody who currently uses Kratom?
No.
I'm just,
I hear people like on the internet,
right.
They'll say stuff, but I don't know anybody. I don't think personally that that's really talked to me about it.
People, Jenny talked to me about it and wanted me to try it. I was like, I am not going to try something that is on the verge of becoming illegal, because if it actually works and I want to use it, why do that to myself?
No way would I.
Yeah. I mean, but my thing is that the FDA just classified it as an opiate in the United States. I know that for a fact. And they're saying that even though it's a plant, it's at the molecular level. And also there's this narrative that people are dying. I want to see, if that's true, then okay, fine. But I want to see the data. Where's the data?
Based on what I've seen on the data, it's like the people that have died from that have a lot of other stuff in their system. It wasn't just like, oh, they took a bunch of Kratom and they died. It was like mixed with all these other different, drugs or alcohol or whatever.
Xanax and
yeah, and that's a common problem because I mean when you're you're not mentally sound, you just kind of reach out and you just take whatever is like available to you.
Right.
So you see this in Kentucky where they have like these dry counties or whatever, and then you see like when they ban alcohol, meth shoots up through the roof. It's like, what? I mean, who's like, well, I can't buy beer, so I guess I'll just go do some meth. I mean, these are people that are in like dire straits, and they're just like, I'll just take whatever I can to like alter my state of mind because it's so screwed up.
I don't know. If you're doing that, I've heard this before and it's messed up. It's like, well, my brother's a meth head, but at least his house is clean. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh, Jesus.
No.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, that's kind of like the mentality. It's like, okay, well, I mean, I know a guy that's like that. It's like, so he does a little meth, but he holds down his job and he takes care of his family, and it's like, well, I mean, but if you're if you're balancing it, and I'm not one to judge, it's like, if you're holding your life together, I mean, that's better than what I can do. So I can't judge too hard.
I
call those kind of people functional addicts.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, functional addicts. Yes.
I've heard bosses say they'd rather have a meth head because they're working the whole time and they're working like a maniac, or a guy on coke. They're like, we don't want to bust this guy because he's super productive. They don't.
And let's be real. I mean, look at Wall Street. Look at our Congress. They're on a shit ton of drugs. They're doing something. Like some of these people, it's kind of like, yeah. I mean, you're doing a bump here and there. I guarantee you.
A lot of them are alcoholics.
I mean, look at Hillary.
Look at Chad.
Sorry.
All I want to do, pain free. That's all I want. I want to be pain free. That's it.
Well, so do I, but I'm not going to take a drug that does that. And then plus it comes with a black box warning.
I don't know about you guys. I like the pain. I'm not like a S&M guy, but pain.
Is that why you live stream, Evan?
Is that why you watch TYT, Evan?
I tell my daughter all the time, pain is good. It tells you that there's something wrong with your body.
Spicy cornbread.
But that's a good point, though. I mean, I know a lot of people that's a common problem with people that take like these opiates and stuff, is they'll work themselves past the point of where they should, like, because they can't feel the pain and they can't, since they can't feel the pain of like, oh, this is when I need to stop. Like they'll just, they'll power through like, 12, 18 hours worth of like physical labor, and they're breaking themselves, but they don't know it because they can't feel anything.
Yeah.
I don't, when I go to, like, if I need to go to the hospital or something like that and they offer morphine, I always say I'm allergic to it, because the one time that I actually did take it, I actually found it really good, a little bit too good.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, just give me something other than morphine.
I'm an addict. I cannot take any. When I go to the hospital or whatever, I tell them right off, you can't give that to me because I will like it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a huge problem. There's so many people out there that have like all these, legitimate like pain issues, and now with the thing of the crisis of the opiates, the people that need it can't get it, and also it's like the things that are available to them that would keep them from getting addicted to some kind of like opiate product, it's illegal. Kratom, marijuana, like all these different things that would keep us off of that, it's illegal.
Right.
So it's like, either you're going to dope yourself up or, you're going to live in chronic pain. Pick your poison. Which one do you want?
Well, and Angelica Earl, who, by the way, I am interviewing this Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. One of her things is she is in the hospital industry, or she's in the medical field, and she's pro legalization of marijuana. I'm curious to know if she knows anything about kratom and how she feels about it, because I've heard that it's it's considered a narcotic, but I'm curious to know what she thinks about it. And I'm not looking to get anybody addicted on anything. I just want people to be able to be functional and be able to work, especially factory jobs. I'm getting older. I'm going to be 50 this year, and it's like you got like 10, 15 more years of this, and the job's getting tougher because, you know, you're getting older and they're cutting back workers. So you gotta have something, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many jobs that we have right now. I mean, I know Walmart here is one of our biggest employers. Like Walmart
Right.
in the healthcare industry, these are jobs that take a physical toll on your body. Like
Yep.
if you're standing at a cash register all day, your back is going to be screwed up. If you're lifting on patients every single day, your back's going to be screwed up. I mean, we have jobs that literally are just like disabling people, and it's feeding into like our medical costs and stuff like that. I mean, there's so many smarter ways that we could be doing stuff right now, but we don't. You know, instead we force people to stand at cash registers for 12 hours a day when that's really not even necessary. You know, like they could be having jobs right now that they actually like doing, or that isn't as physically demanding at the very least. But, you know, whatever, we're just going to keep them standing at cash registers because it keeps them in like this, you know, capitalistic, you know, model where they can, you know, take their meager paycheck and then turn around and buy, you know, a little bit of food or pay their, you know, electric bill with it, you know.
Stevie,
so that's why they're still doing these back-breaking jobs.
I'm curious to know, would you rather sit in like a toll booth for 8 hours or stand on a concrete floor? Well, by the way, the floors, they could be better for, you know, for back health, but would you rather stand on a concrete floor and be a cashier, or would you rather sit at a toll booth? Because I know I have back issues too. I know you have back issues too. I'm just curious.
See, I don't know, that both of those sound like hell to me. You know, where I've got scoliosis, I'm like, if I sit for too long or if I stand for too long, you know, it creates a lot of like back pain. So it's like, you know, I have to mix it up. You know, every 30 minutes I have to like get up, move around, and then, you know, sit back down. So I've had jobs where I've been on my feet, you know, for 8 hours, and I've had jobs where I've had to sit there for 8 hours, and both of them are absolute torture on your back.
Yeah.
I mean, like, people aren't made to do stuff like that. I mean, like, we're made to get up, move around. You know, even like some of these jobs that are like desk jobs, I mean, there's ways that we can, you know, have like a desk that, you know, you can stand at, or, you know, different things. But that's money off of like the bottom line, and people like these corporations don't want to invest in that. They don't want to put a mat by the cash register to make sure that their cashiers don't get crippled. You know, I mean, how's that benefit the bottom line? You know, so just let those people get broken.
Back when Baby Bush got in, there was the very first thing that happened was Clinton had just put through the OSHA law and talking about, you know, increasing the ergonomics and all of that. I'm not saying that he didn't have some money involved himself, but it was a good thing for the workers. And the person who actually introduced it was Elizabeth Dole, but it was pushed back. It was repealed because, you know, it would cost the job creators too much money. So yeah, I agree with you, Stevie. You know, but we have, you know, and where I'm at, we have different things that help people, so they don't have to, you know, bend as much and things like that. Different lifters and tilters, and we do have mats that we stand on when we load. But most places don't have that.
Yeah, I mean, I think even like if you look at policing, it's not good to do like one certain thing all the time. You know, like if that's your job, you have to go in every day and you're on an assembly line, and all you have to do is move one part to another part, and then, you know, it's not good for your body to do, like, mentally or physically. You know, like you get these police officers and stuff, you know, like that's what they do, is like they get so desensitized to, like, you know, violence or whatever, that, you know, like they end up, you know, shooting people. It's like, you know, you get people that are, you know, that get like nursing, I've seen some of these nurses that they get so desensitized from seeing all these like addicts and just the worst of like our society, that they
Right.
get desensitized to it. It's like, once you start doing a job for so long, it's like you have to mix it up, or else, either physically or mentally, like it's gonna break you.
You know that the
Well,
remember.
and I think that. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, see, I think that's kind of the whole thing with, like these shooters. They've all got the same kind of MO. They're loners. This violent culture. Where it's not the guns. It's people. Well, it's the culture of we're handling everything violently and making our scene. People want to be heard. People want to have some sort of whatever balance is thrown in there, imbalance is thrown in there, but people want to be able to be heard. Then you got the media. What do they jump on? This is like great for them. This is another way to keep people up in arms and divide people, because then again they make it about taking away your guns, or they make it about this, they make it whatever, and it's just more fluff.
Remember the old articles? You don't see it that much anymore, where companies would take life insurance policies on their workers.
Right.
Well, they still do.
Right.
It's just not talked about anymore. And part of it could be with the way that they handle the employees is safety / policies that could probably make them not be crippled from their job. Like if they're sitting or standing 8 hours a day, that's not healthy, but that's kind of good for them in the long run if they take out life insurance policies.
Yeah. And which loser politician was on the board of Walmart that came up with that idea of
Hillary Clinton, the cunt.
Exactly. She didn't even know what the C meant.
Say, would you guys mind if we went back to 9/11 again?
Yeah.
All the time. And there are so many people that put out incorrect things about 9/11. I would like to correct one thing. None of these people have any idea how metal behaves when they say that the aircraft wasn't accounted for when it disappeared. So I'm going to put up a picture. Okay.
See, like my big thing with 9/11 is like I don't know, what they're saying is true. I don't know. I mean, like I don't know the science behind metal and shit like that. Like seriously, I mean, most Americans don't know the melting temperature of stuff. Like, I mean, but that should be on our government to explain. I mean, if somebody committed a terrorist act here, that should be all on them to explain to us every single thing that went through with that, because we deserve to know what happened.
I'd like to take this down soon. So
I don't think metal melts.
Our 3 pieces, the temperature of the metal melts is not important at all. I have a picture up of 3 pieces of metal. You can't tell which one was cut in which order. They were not cut with a saw. They were not cut with a laser. They were not cut with microwave. They were cut with a shockwave. Basically, one part of it started moving. The easiest to say, like moved one atom. It started a chain reaction across the surface, and the 2 surfaces separated to the point where there's this little moon shape with ears, and that's where radial pressure builds up to the point where it just ejects itself at high speed. The two parts radially go for wave. Most people couldn't even comprehend or have any comprehensive understanding of this process happening. And this is how the towers came down. And all it needed was this little thump from the basement when a tank blew up in the basement to cause that to come down after the plane damaged the side of the building. The process that most of the plane was used up was very similar. Once the plane hit the building, it sliced itself up like this, And then airplanes, if you ever see one that's caught fire, you'll see that most of it has just disappeared. The fire is complete. Now, if you chop it up into little pieces from a 400-mile-an-hour plus impact, the behavior I would expect to find very little pieces of the aircraft. That doesn't negate anything else on 9/11, like why was there a standout order? Why did it hit that section of the building? That has nothing to do with the method of how it was or whether or not there was a plane. It was not a missile. But you won't find photos like this on the internet. I did give samples of some other metal I cut to 9/11 investigator. So this is, like I said, most of the engineers and architects on 9/11 truth or whatever, absolute bullshit. That don't understand metal being cut. It is not the same as cutting it on your bandsaw in your garage. And when you've got speed involved, everything gets different. So it's really bad to keep reposting the myth that the plane disappeared and is unaccounted for. It's that so many people without expertise have made comments to the general public. The general public believes them and passes it on.
Snort, I want to ask you about the people who called their loved ones while they're on a plane before it crashed.
I hear variations on that. Depends on the aircraft, really, I think. I hear cell phone experts say that not possible. And I hear other cell phone experts say, yeah, sure, you could do that. When you have a metal body, it's always difficult to get transmission. Some aircraft have repeaters on them so cell phones can get out. And I don't know the case, so I wish I could give you an answer on that.
Because this is, of course, back in 2001.
But that's separate from the.
I know.
Could the building come down with just the metal and just the impact alone? Yes, it could. Our company used it as an advertisement for our process.
And that's that Jeffrey Beamer. He was on that plane in Pennsylvania, and he was the one that said, "Let's roll."
Yeah.
And coming to find out, his wife, she started a foundation, and that came out to be fraud.
Well, there was a congressman who had a powerful wife that they were having some troubles. His wife was on the plane that went down. There are so many things that could be issues, could not be issues, might be. But the most important thing is we stop repeating the incorrect, because when it gets debunked, the
rest of it can.
The rest of it gets debunked, and all of these bullshit answers that are out there are hiding the real issues. Why did Cheney issue the stand down knowing that an attack was coming?
Yeah.
And that should be the number one. Who put the put order, and why did the put order come in such a close period of time to the Clintons' political or financial recovery?
Yeah. So I'm wondering, Snork, would it have been a better, like, say if you were one of the terrorists piloting a plane, would it have been better to go near the base of the building or go where they did?
Go where they did.
So, okay.
Because wasn't it gold taken from that building?
The best analysis that I know was that the fuel went down the elevator shafts. The building already had the preload damage from the original blast. So all of the force on the building was being carried on the outside exoskeleton. The middle of the building was all being held together by rebar. When the plane hit, the fuel went down to the basement, and the fire was in the basement. An explosion expert was in the building next door, and he called his wife and explained that he had to leave the building, that the building was on fire, and then she didn't hear from him again for 3 days. But he was there, and he said the fuel in the basement was adequate to blow those tanks. If those tanks went, they would have caused the thump that would have caused the shear that I just showed you guys. And so with that alone, it is possible that those buildings came down. That doesn't explain how Building 7 came down. It doesn't explain why Cheney would not let any action be taken, and why they did not cancel the training event, knowing that this was going to happen on the same day.
And that's another thing. How come every time these episodes and gun shootings and whatever happens, there's always a training run that occurs that day or day before or a few weeks before?
Months before, years before. Why was the delay of the mayoral election for Minnesota postponed until after the training of the terrorists? The county where they trained was the last one to get made a data in the United States.
Yeah.
But
hey guys, I want to go.
Okay. Good night, Shirley.
Night,
Thank
Shirley.
you.
Good night.
I'm going to hold out and reserve believing anything at this point in time.
that's what I'm saying, is that there is so much
Well-
bogus information out there that I think bogus information.
How am I to believe you just because you're snark? I
What's
mean,
that?
really, how am I to am I supposed to just believe?
No, you're not supposed to just believe me. But what I'm saying is there's so much bogus information out there hiding the real stuff.
Well, that's what they all say.
And people are making claims that they don't have the ability to back up.
So you don't think
That's what
that
they
there
all say.
so you don't think there should be any type of plain like
I think
something
there should
that
have been a real investigation.
well what I'm right I don't know.
Finish,
See,
Tam.
this is what I don't get. It's like, I mean, this is the basis for all of our interventionist wars. This is the basis for all these, terrorism. It's the basis for the NSA, all this different stuff. But at the same time, it's like they don't want to take the time to explain this stuff to us. I mean, like if they're in the right, I feel like it's their job to explain this to us because I mean, they're just like they want to cite it for all these different reasons to invade all these places, but they still can't. They don't sit there and take the time to explain it to us. Like if it's true, I'm all ears. I want to hear the information you put it forward, whatever. But the thing is they want to keep it a secret. I mean, when you look at all the different things that all the different ways that they kept, the information, all these, different investigations that they had, but there's no accountability. There's no real information there.
But everybody focused on the plane crash, and nobody even investigated the financial issues.
Right.
Yeah, whatever happened to all that money that the Pentagon misplaced?
Yeah, nobody investigated any of the
At the
chains
time, but
of commands at all.
at the time, but it's coming out.
Didn't
And-
$6 trillion just go missing recently?
Mm-hmm.
Before that, yeah. And of course, it hits the perfect place in the Pentagon.
what I want to know is why the goddamn FBI, there's so many fucking things out in the open, so many things right there in plain sight, and we don't have anybody in our government agencies that's going to stand up against the cowards that are running your shit.
It was not treated as a crime scene.
But that's what I'm saying. There's a reason why that's orders and shit. If it was something that they really didn't know about, or there wasn't something being done, the operation would be different. That's my point is with all this FBI shit coming out, what they're doing, what they're allowing to happen. Where's the accountability? But where the people that are the the meat of the agency like speaking up on that shit.
Well,
Like-
they see, their spin is they don't have enough power or money or personnel. So, we just got to give them a couple more $1 billion so they do things right.
Well,
Well, you gotta stop wasting it on bullshit.
Yeah, but they're prioritizing looking into whether aliens did it over preserving a piece of the crime scene. It's all gone. There's nothing to look into anymore. There are no bolts left over to analyze for what the method of cutting was. There's no steel to look for. It's what happened to it. The things are all gone and destroyed.
Conveniently so.
And the ones who were supposed to clean it up were overturned by some government contractor, where typically the city would go ahead and clean things up, but because it was a terrorist attack, they had to have these government private companies do it all for them, and no one knows where all that went.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost immediately that they announced that a large portion of the steel was going to be remade into a war vessel, and that meltdown began immediately.
The thing that really burned my ass, honestly, is when the 9/11 memorial was created, and people have to pay $20 to get in or whatever it is. Come on. It's bad enough. What are you using for that? I don't know. I just it rubbed me the wrong way. And you had people basically selling programs with the pictures of the event.
Mm-hmm.
No, to me that's too much.
Mm-hmm.
That's too much. I knew people who died in those towers, so it's like, I'm going to pay $20 to be reminded of this stuff. No.
Does it go to the victims and families of the people who died, or the first responders who need medical help, medical help? I mean, where does that
sure
money
as hell
go?
know it's not going to the first responders. I mean, when Jon Stewart himself, when he has to raise the awareness by going out and and yelling about it, that it's absolutely it's immoral to make money for the city and not take care of the first responders and not take care of the survivors of 9/11. You have firefighters who are still fighting health issues, and I don't know how many die yearly now, but I know they still have serious COPD, and I'm sure there are people who have PTSD from it. And you never hear it, but you're going to try to sell me a program.
Mm-hmm.
It's just bad taste, extremely bad.
I'm really curious as to how many first responders are still alive, because I know a while back, I heard that the vast majority of them had already succumbed to illnesses regarding them doing the rescue efforts. So it's how many are still alive, and the quality of life that they're given, as far as insurance and stuff goes. I mean, are they still fighting for that, or do they have that yet? I mean, I know that was an issue a while back, they didn't have, healthcare and stuff to actually account for the illnesses that they got, fighting this stuff.
I know they had their benefits extended. I don't know for how long. I don't know if they still have it. And to be honest with you, I'd have to look to see how many people are still alive.
Yeah, what I remember, or at least what someone kind of told me, is the first petition to Congress to give the first responders, extended health benefits and all that was approved, but then like when it was kind of like running out, another extension, they didn't approve it. So.
That's when Stewart stepped in. I know there was that there was an extension. I think it was for 3 years. So I don't know. I don't know how many are still around, and if they got another one. But it doesn't go away.
Mm-hmm.
No.
COPD doesn't go away.
Yeah. So I think James is gonna end it.
Okay.
Is someone gonna continue on? Are you gonna do it, Dave?
I could, if you guys want to continue. I gotta grab my pizza. If you guys can be on for like another 2 minutes, I'll be right back.
All right.
I'm seeing here from CNN is the source. 5,400 diagnosed with cancers linked to September 11th. That doesn't break down by whether or not they were first responders. It's triple the number of people diagnosed that aren't related. 12,000 have been diagnosed with cancer since 9/11. 32,000 have been diagnosed with aerodigestive issues. There were 75,000 people in the buildings at the time. So that's almost half. If you got asthma, chronic cough, gastroesophageal reflux disorder, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And
how
again,
many are?
That the source is CNN.
Yeah. How many are alive now? I mean, it's been 17 years.
I know. I'm trying to find data as quick as I can.
The thing that bothered me the most about it was hearing the bodies slamming through the ceilings. I mean, I remember I was in a motel when I was hearing that for the first time. And I just fell on the floor on my face and I was bawling into the carpet. I mean, it was just like, I almost lost.
Yeah,
I almost went insane during that time. And to this day, you can't get me on a big plane. I go train now. I have a paranoia of flying now.
I do alter which time of flights I take. 4,692 first responders are amongst the people that are ill.
How many is it still?
4,692 are ones that are ill, but it doesn't say whether they lived or died.
Right. Well, I know there have been several, there have been a lot that have passed away. I mean, it's extremely tough for me to talk about because I knew a lot of people. So, I mean, the toughest thing for me was watching people that I worked with fly out of the building freaking out because their sister worked there or whatever. My wife and I September 11th was a Tuesday. My wife and I came back from St. Louis that Sunday from a flight that had been delayed, and we were pissed off and griping about, why the flight was delayed. And then 2 days later that happened, and there were, you could hear screams from people who just lost, husbands and sons. And I just remember, and I mentioned this, in a video that got Claudia's attention, that there was a a father holding his young daughter, and his wife had just gone back to work in the tower, and she didn't make it. She was in like one of the top floors. So it's very tough for me to talk about, and it's even tougher for me to think that the government had anything to do with it or could have prevented it and didn't.
Yeah. And going through that, I, just seeing all kinds of disgusting things like Snopes. When I went to Snopes to check out to see if that was adequate data or not,
Right.
come right across to true. Starbucks did charge $45 a case for water. I thought that was I thought that had to be made up.
Well,
That's messed up.
No.
But I mean, America based on consumption and fear. Like when we talk about whenever there's a gun-related mass shooting, gun and ammo sales go up.
Yeah, the store's absolutely right about that.
Yeah, and then whenever there's some type of like weather-related event that's incoming, you see all the water being bought out in stores and like a lot of non-perishables. I mean, all you need is just you want to make, if you're a grocery chain, you basically want to own the Weather Channel and say, there's a huge winter blizzard coming. There's a big hurricane coming. All of a sudden, everyone's going to go out there and buy.
The market does use that. Marketers do use that.
Selling generators. Just talk about a hurricane.
Yeah, different things sell in different areas. The blizzards here tends to be more of the food for the next 3 days, whereas I see the pictures on the news of Florida all the way up here in Iowa they say hurricane, poof, the grocery store is empty. I don't care what it is, it's just gone. Eben will now be purchasing large amounts of diapers prior to issues of snowstorms.
I mean, that's usually what motivates people around here is like snowstorms. Tornadoes. Every once in a while we'll get those, but people don't stock up on that. But when people hear like it's going to snow here, yeah, you'll get all the water and like canned foods and stuff like cleared out in these stores.
I remember when my kids were young.
Generators.
When my kids were young, I needed some diapers, and just happened to coincide with when there was a big blizzard going to hit. And I didn't realize back then to always have extra diapers in the house because stores just sell out of the diapers before a blizzard.
We use cloth diapers, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, damn. Other than maybe the highways, Stevie, when it floods, geez, what the hell do y'all do? The roads are, your roads are fucked.
Yeah, I mean,
damn.
Even on a good day, our roads are terrible here. I mean, with the potholes, and we can't keep up with them because the coal trucks that go through here, no sooner do you patch something than it gets tore up again. So it's like, people don't really, even normally get a good chance to get to the store. So, when you get like a natural, disaster, a flood or, a snowstorm or something, like people like freak out.
I mean, I used to love driving down 66. Good God, I can't, it's raining just a little bit. You could barely get down that road. I don't know. Take care of that, Stevie. Stevie for governor. You should run for governor. I'll be your campaign manager.
Well, yeah, I mean, that kind of goes to what we were talking about earlier with, like, the atheists and stuff, like, not being able to get in office quite yet.
Yeah. Well, we'll get you there somewhere. I'll make you, I'll make you traffic cop or roads and highways or something, or creative manager of Charleston.
Yeah, I couldn't even run for dog catcher here.
Yeah, I don't know why people hear that automatically. They're like, "Oh, well, you worship Satan and you want to like kill children and you have no, moral, fiber. Like, you're just gonna just go crazy because you don't have somebody in the sky telling you what you should and should not do."
That sounds like a fucking social justice war, like the religious ideology. It just feels like the preaching, the religious preaching. It's like they do the exact same tactics as social justice warriors.
All I have to say is Roman Catholic Church, and they like, oh, you bring that shit up again. I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
North Carolina, it's in the North Carolina Constitution. You cannot be an atheist and hold any office. I don't think you can even testify for yourself in court.
Yep.
I'd say I'm a Quaker.
I'd say I'm a Cthulhuist, but I don't think that North Carolina is the only state that has that too.
You're probably right.
I'll believe in Mother Nature. Oh, you're against my goddess? Oh, yeah, I'm offended.
Oh, a Jedi.
What?
He's got a Jedi. Is it?
Sushi chef. Sushi chef.
Oh, sushi chef.
I'm a Jenkist.
I got my twice.
And for me, it feels like so in order to be in office, some people are just going to lie about their religion. So it doesn't really necessarily help them.
Right.
I think they do anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I think they do. Here's my question. I'll try to make this short because I know you guys want to cut it out. But I know Victor, Tiffany, and I'm giving Kelly Lane all the credit for working on this. The contract for American Renewal. They're getting people signed up now, but now they have a couple of Justice Democrats, and now they have Ro Khanna who signed up. And do I trust Ro Khanna to follow anything? No, I don't. My thing is, with any contract, you have to have, where are my people? You have to have,
I have some.
You have to have accountability. You have to have accountability for when people don't follow that contract. And I'm curious to see what happens if someone, and not just Ro Khanna, but when someone does something that contradicts what the CFAR stands for, what are they going to do? I saw Ro Khanna, I was like, oh, God.
We're all bringing out our toys.
Yeah, I don't know where my Daenerys went and my Jorah Mormont.
Did anybody watch the Jimmy Dore and on what's his name, Joe Rogan podcast? Joe Rogan.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I saw part of that.
How was it?
Oh, it was fucking awesome. After watching that, he's so humble. I don't think he realizes how much power he has, because he really is kind of the leading progressive voice right now. But I don't think he realizes how, if he wanted to pull people together, he could. But he was very humble the way. Anyways, Joe Rogan really, you could tell he really fucks with him. So they're, but Jimmy's about to be out of here. He needs to fucking dump Jank. Dude, I watched the little thing because of the bet. They made a bet about Trump. You guys see that little thing? That
Yeah.
They did that poll. If they should charge, should make Jimmy pay the thing. It was like total pompous bullshit, like the way he came on. Well, I made this bet in 2015 of about Trump, and it was 10-1. Jimmy said he'd pay him 1,000. Anyways, he played this thing. He's like, "Oh well, I won, but I'll let you guys decide." So I don't know. I think Jimmy paid it anyways. Anyways, the motherfucker didn't even acknowledge, and it's a similar thing. They don't acknowledge the cheating, how they elevated Trump and why Trump became a contender and what was going on. That it was cheating, so that should have negated the whole fucking bet, or made it void.
I think
I don't know.
Cenk Uygur and Donald Trump conspired with Hillary so that Cenk could win $1,000
That's it.
from Jimmy Dore. That's it. I figured it out. No.
And that's why it's what happened to Seth Rich is because Seth Rich found out about that.
And he wanted $250.
We are so smart.
Right. And I think it was really Cenk that took all the money from Haiti.
Bastard.
During Haiti spring break.
Right, exactly.
Haiti pissed me off too. Yeah, I mean, you have people who are basically living in dirt huts, and you freaking why? Why do you?
Hey, yeah, Red Cross raised how much? Like $500 million, and they only made like 6 really basic shelters.
I mean, come on.
Well, that's the Clintons. Yeah, they built like 9 homes, 10 homes. They didn't even not even double digits or something like that. And then they built a factory or something that wasn't even in the area that something happened.
Yeah. It's the biggest scam, but they're in power, so they don't get busted for it.
In trouble. So what do you say about that, Eric? What would you? Okay, finish the sentence for me. Hillary Clinton is
Cunt.
a
Cunt.
Porn star.
I haven't heard you say it.
No, that's Christopher Steele. That's Christopher.
So,
You really had to go
That's
the
like
porn star route. Now I got that freaking image in my head.
raise of hands. Who thinks the Clinton? Who thinks the Clinton body count is more true than false? That.
Oh, it's totally more true.
What?
All right, good night, everybody. Love you all.
David, you're gonna host?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, James.
What was that?
Stevie, check your Twitter. Stevie, check your Twitter.
Have a good one. You guys take care.
Yeah.
Night, y'all.
Night.
It always goes to like religion and 9/11. It seems like, but those are good topics. Here's the problem: they don't give us enough information. They give us what they want to give us, and it seems like they just want to give us what they want to give us. And I just don't like what they're giving us, so it just sucks what they give us. There's no oversight. Nobody's watching what they're giving us. We find out from WikiLeaks what's really happening everywhere. We find out from other sources down the road what really happened with redacted information. We find out later on, years later, the truth on things. It's insanity. It is absolute insanity that we have a government that, in a sense, literally keeps us in the dark. Oh, you don't want to know the truth. You can't handle the truth. No, we need to know the fucking truth. Because if you guys really knew the truth, I think we all knew the truth. Let's not bring religion in. We already know what the truth is about that. Yeah, what's up, bro?
You're muted. You can't hear you. Just want to let you know.
Am I muted? Oh, you know what?
Yeah, nobody can hear you.
I muted myself on the OBS. Thank you, brother.
All right.
Okay. It's just I look stupid, huh? No, what I was saying, I'll just put it simple. They don't give us the truth. Nobody's given us the truth. The truth. We haven't had the truth in a long time. In a long time. You know, they give us what they want to give us. It's the high elite people have been controlling the paupers, the slaves, you know, and everybody but them for thousands of years. This is not a new concept. They've been keeping information, and they've been keeping the truth and the facts from us for a long time. And it's about to either blow up in their faces, or they're going to do whatever they can to keep us in the dark, stifled. And it's there's so many people on the internet right now that are talking about everything that we're talking about. There's thousands upon thousands of people. I mean, I just search on the internet 9/11, and there's 1,000 fucking things talking about that in so many different directions. And there's a ton of people that are talking about all kinds of stuff that pertain to the simple fact that our own government is doing things that aren't helping us. They're helping them and their elite and the Rothschilds and the Kochs and the Saudi Arabian princes and all this other shit. It's just, it's just really fucked up. And it's like I said, it's been like that for thousands and thousands of years. But with the age of technology and the tree of knowledge that we have that we're not supposed to touch according to religion, which is, I think, the internet and us being able to communicate with each other quickly, easily, fast, sharing, researching, referencing information, doing our own research, we're starting to realize that, who are they working for? That's why I went green. Right now, it appears that they're working for us. I hope it stays that way. If we can get them, further into office, let's see. I think that's got to be our last hope before Eben wants to get out his guns and go, take on the fucking military. Good luck with that, bro. I'm just saying, a few tanks, a couple of Apache helicopters, a couple of SEAL teams, maybe an infantry, and you're fucked. You were in the Navy. You know how powerful we are. We're just fucking god-awfully powerful. Anyway, I gotta get going. Good night. Thank you guys for being on. Tomorrow's Friday. I might be on tomorrow. I don't know. It depends on what's going on. But thank you guys. Aloha, aloha, aloha.